There are two important facts about life you might not know. One, no mineral is more crucial to longevity than magnesium. Two, the most effective form of magnesium is stabilized magnesium ions. That's where REMAG comes in by Dr. Carolyn Dean. Experience the benefits of stabilized ionic magnesium and support your health today. Visit RNAreset.com and use offer code MIRACLE10 for 10% off your first order. Visit RNAreset.com and use offer code MIRACLE10 for 10% off your first order.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And we are back here on Katz and Cosby. By the way, also, let's do a little breaking news just on this here real quick.
Breaking news, WABC.
This is just coming out from Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, military guy, of course, saying that he believes the Senate will confirm all President-elect Trump's nominees. They have been meeting on the Hill today. That includes Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard. So that is good news for President-elect Trump.
And you know what he's going to do if they don't perform? You're fired.
See ya, right? Just like The Apprentice.
Sounds like a good idea for a TV show.
Yeah, maybe a successful one. Well, joining us is another very, very successful guy, the great Bill O'Reilly, host of Common Sense with Bill O'Reilly, mega best-selling author. His latest book is Confronting the President and the Presidents. And you can also hear him every night here on WABC Radio, 9 to 10 p.m. Bill, everybody's talking about the Daniel Penny verdict, not guilty. Your reaction, first of all, to that, Bill?
Okay, I just want to make one comment on Ms. Devine. I think it would be a mistake to pardon blanket all of the rioters that have been charged for January 6 offenses. What should happen is that everybody knows this was a political campaign run by Merrick Garland in the Justice Department. That's a historical fact.
Bill O'Reilly, you think it was Merrick Garland? Is he the one pushing the buttons, or is it somebody else?
Do I think it's whom?
Anybody else? You think it's Merrick Garland?
Yeah, well, he was ordered by Biden's people. But everybody knows it was political. Yeah. So the U.S. attorneys were ordered to find and prosecute these people. So what should happen now is that once President Trump is sworn in, he should establish a 3-judge panel, Judge Weinberg being the leader, to look at each case. It's all on the record. You don't have to investigate anything. All the court testimony's there. And then recommend. There are more than 1,000 cases. Sounds like a lot, but you could do it in a year and a half. That would be the fair way to do it. And I think that if President Trump does that, the lion's share of the J6 people will be pardoned.
I accept that nomination and that appointment. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the common sense way, because justice is justice. Can't have political violence in this country. You can't.
Absolutely. Do it on a case-by-case basis is your point.
Yes.
Look at the case.
100%.
3 judges make recommendations. Trump doesn't have to follow them, by the way. But at least he would have the information in front of him, and it wouldn't be deemed as a political pardon. All right, let's get to Penny. So I'm very happy, as you guys have been talking about throughout the whole hour, that the New York jury understood the concept of reasonable doubt, because there is no doubt there was reasonable doubt in what happened on that subway car. There are 2 things that linger. One is that most people will now be very reluctant to help another person, because even though Penny's bills were paid by a variety of fundraisers, that was 18 months of hell, and now he's being in civil court, on and on, it never ends. Okay, so if you're going to help somebody, you yourself are at risk, particularly when you have an irresponsible ideologue as the district attorney, Alvin Bragg. I mean, this is going to send a chilling effect of the Good Samaritan. How can the Good Samaritan afford to be the Good Samaritan in an atmosphere like we have in New York City? That's number one. That's horrible. Number 2 is, and it hasn't really broken out yet, and I hope it doesn't, is the racial component on this. So it doesn't really matter what color you are. If you are mentally ill and roaming the subways, screaming and threatening people, you have to be neutralized. And there are simply not enough New York City police officers to do it. So civilians have to defend themselves. and it doesn't matter what color the mentally ill person is. So the family of the man who died shouldn't be suing Daniel Penny, should be suing Alvin Bragg and the apparatus in New York that allows mentally ill people to roam around and hurt other people at will. We've all seen it. We all know somebody who's been a victim of it. It continues unabated. That's where the lawsuit should go. These people need to be isolated. And to hear these people out front, there weren't many of them, screaming about black this and white this, that is so heinous. I can't tell you how bad that is.
And, he also, did you hear right after the verdict came down, they were essentially threatening the jurors, too. I mean, they said 9 white jurors, we knew that, have a good Christmas while Jordan Neely's family is in mourning. I mean, I am worried how incendiary this could get, Bill.
Well, luckily it hasn't really gotten much traction thus far.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah, I've been monitoring the local TV and the radio, and there's one guy, I'm not mentioning his name because that empowers him. He always does this stuff.
Yep.
Always.
Yep.
Sharpton has been mute. You haven't heard much from Sharpton. He's still counting his $500,000 from Kamala. It takes a while to count that much money that Kamala gave him in one of the most corrupt things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yep.
NBC News. But I'm hoping that this kind of a thing doesn't emerge because this is a mental health, public safety problem, not a race problem.
Yeah, I agree. Judge Weinberg.
Bill, to your point, one of the big mistakes that was reprehensible in that trial was the assistant DA constantly referring to Daniel Penny as the white guy and the victim as the black guy. And it took.
Well, why do you think he did that, Judge?
Oh, to taint the jury.
He did it?
Of course, to taint the jury. It was awful.
Yeah, but he was ordered to do it.
I accept that.
His boss plays that card every single day.
Absolutely awful. And a good lawyering, they made the judge finally correct that. But the problem is, as you know,
you can't undo it.
Trial, you can't undo and unhear what you've heard. And every person who's tried a case knows that.
I think adults in New York City understand the game at this point. They understand the demonization and that because of the social disorder rise. And it's, look, I have never in my life evaluated any situation based on skin color ever, or ethnicity, or religion. That is for really emotionally disturbed people. We do not do that here. But I think in this case that it's a step back for all people to say, look, we got to get this mental health thing under control. We cannot allow people to roam this city and put other people at risk. You can't allow it. Yet no one that I know of, not the governor, not the mayor, not the DA, not the attorney general, wants to deal with that problem.
Yeah, I agree. And by the way, I was looking at Jordan Neely's track record. You probably know this, Bill O'Reilly, but he was on the list of like 50 people with mental illness to be concerned about with violence. He had 42 arrests in 7 years, including assaulting a woman on the subway. Prior to this, this is Jordan Neely, the guy who died with Daniel Penny. But
we should give him a ticker tape parade.
Yeah, John says hooray to Daniel Penny.
I didn't mention that because I don't want to demonize someone who's dead. All right?
Yeah.
I think I can make the case without doing that.
No, hear you, but it's a revolving door to your point, Absolutely.
Of course. When you've been arrested 42 times, and one of the arrests, and I believe he was convicted on the charge of assaulting an elderly woman.
Yep.
An elderly woman. All right? And he's still running around. How do you explain that, Governor Hochul?
Exactly. No, that's a great point, Bill. You're right. This is a time where people need to address that, and no one is. Judge Weinberg.
When someone is a threat to themselves or to other people, there should be an ability to seize them civilly and have them committed and get them the attention and the services they need.
Yeah, to help them and help us.
Right, and it's not a civil right to be let out onto the streets, and that's what the left wingers try to do. It is not a civil right to be out on the streets, mentally ill, a threat to yourself and to others?
Listen, unless New York starts to face up to the social disorder that puts every single person in jeopardy every day, the city will continue to decline. People will continue to leave. People will get hardened to suffering. You've already destroyed the Good Samaritan thing, Alvin Bragg. I hope you're happy about that. I really hope you're happy about it. So we have to try to put enormous pressure on the lawmakers in Albany, the city council in Manhattan and New York, and the other boroughs to stop the madness, because they're cowards. They don't want to stop the madness.
Which is, boy, what a sad testament. You're right, Bill, but what a sad testament, isn't that? I mean, how do you turn this around for New York?
We're going to take back the blue cities and let Eric Adams be the first one to take back New York, okay? And let him make a deal with President Trump. Let him make a deal with
Holman, yeah.
And let's bring back New York. Enough is enough.
Yeah, I feel like hopefully the verdict today is a turnaround. I mean, the fact that a New York jury,
Manhattan jury did this, I find amazing.
Yeah, Bill, I'm curious your thoughts. How they were obviously deadlocked on the more serious. Everyone sort of thought, okay, maybe they might go to this compromise. It's a Manhattan jury that said not guilty. Your reaction just to that? So quickly.
You know, I think it was whoever, and you'll get this probably in a day or two, whoever the jury foreman was, after the initial dismissal of which you guys rightly pointed out, very unusual for a DA to dismiss a charge after a hung jury, usually say, oh, we'll go back and try it. That just shows you how transparently political this whole thing was. But whoever the jury foreman was, I think he just sat down and said, look, there's reasonable doubt on all of these charges. Let us be reasonable. And I think that's what happened.
Yeah, because it is stunning. I mean, everybody expected, even we had, you may have heard earlier, we had Thomas Kenneth. I think he was, the attorney for Daniel Penny, Bill O'Reilly, and he was surprised how quick they came back today, for this. Everyone thought this might drag on.
Well, he did a good job in putting it into perspective. When you have a subway car full of people who are terrified, and most of those people were applauding the man who's charged with a crime, that's reasonable doubt.
Yeah, I agree. And the witnesses said that. I mean, the witnesses that played said, yeah, the guy was shouting, I'm going to kill somebody. I don't care if I go to jail.
That's the very definition of justifiable homicide on the facts and the law. That's exactly what you had here.
This goes to my basic point of social disorder. People are on edge when they have to go on the subways, even the buses, when they're walking in Central Park. You are not relaxed anymore in New York City. There are too many evil and mentally ill people walking around who will hurt you. And everybody knows it. The cops know it. And it's got to stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Bill, well said. Well, hopefully, the powers that be are also listening. And they take note of that, because you're right. It's terrifying, but at least, justice prevailed today in a New York City courtroom.
You have 30 seconds?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, please.
Okay. So I got a call from the, information officer in the Bronx, because I said on WABC on Common Sense at 9:00 that I don't think the Bronx DA wants to charge these two thugs who beat up the cops, two police officers on the subway in the Bronx. Their cases have been postponed 8 times. 8. Okay? There's videotape of it. So I got and she called and says, no, we want to do it. And I said, madam, with all due respect, why then has it been deferred 8 times? The next hearing is in January. I'm on this. I am on this.
Well, let's go to war and let's put our foot down.
They listen to WABC. That's the point I'm
Let's WABC put our foot down, and we let's make a difference in the Bronx.
Absolutely. Bill, I'm glad you're spotlighting that case, too. Thank you very much, Bill. And everybody, we're going to be tuning in tonight, Bill, to listen to you to Common Sense with Bill O'Reilly.
Roger Stone here with an urgent warning. While we celebrate Trump's historic win, inflation continues to drain your IRA and 401k. And China is now targeting your money with a kill shot on the U.S. dollar. That's why thousands of Americans are shielding their savings with gold and contacting the experts at Colonial Metals Group. Gold has protected American wealth through every financial war. For a free 2024 gold guide that explains everything, go to freegoldguide.com/stone or call 800-747-6589. So go to freegoldguide.com/stone or call 800-747-6589. That's 800-747-6589 for a free 2024 gold guide to learn how you can protect your life's work, and if you qualify for a free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver right now. That's freegoldguide.com/stone.
Larry Kudlow here with an urgent warning. While we celebrate Trump's historic win, inflation continues to drain your IRA and 401k, and China is now targeting your money with a kill shot on the dollar. That's why thousands of Americans are shielding their savings with gold and contacting the experts at Colonial Metals Group. Gold has protected American wealth through every financial war. For a free 2024 gold guide that explains everything, please go to freegoldguide.com/Kudlow or just call 800-621-3908. The experts at Colonial Metals Group are the only folks I trust to help you bulletproof your wealth with gold. Go to freegoldguide.com/Kudlow or just call 800-621-3908. That's 800-621-3908 for a free 2024 gold guide to learn how you can protect your life's work, and if you qualify for a free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver right now. freegoldguide.com/Kudlow.